Hi everyone, today I'll be talking about how you can set up the Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio via the CyberArk PSM service. First, we'll install the SQL Server Management Studio, or SSMS, on each of the PSM servers. Then we'll run the Add-PSMApps script. This allows the Microsoft SSMS application to be launched on each of the PSM servers. Then we'll configure the connection component and platform to support this use case. Then we'll onboard a domain account for testing. And finally, we'll actually do a test and we'll test the access by launching a Microsoft SSMS application through a PSM connection and verify the secure connection. Here we are in the lab, and what our goal here is that we want to manage SQL databases using a PSM session. Specifically, we need to open up the SQL Server Management Studio application to manage the databases. I've got an SQL server prepared. I'll just switch over to that now. And if we open up the Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio, here we are logged in as an administrator, and we've got some databases, and I've allowed an Active Directory group to be able to manage this SQL server. I'll switch back to the workstation. Before we add accounts, we need to ensure that we've got the SQL Server Management Studio installed on all the PSM servers, and we have the relevant settings configured. I'll just switch over to the first connector server now. On the first connector server, I'll just open up the File Explorer, and I've pre-downloaded SSMS version 19. For the script I'll show you later, it's only supported up to version 19 currently. So let's install this, and I'll go with the defaults. Now that that's installed, I'll select Close. I'll come back to the CyberArk directory, and I've pre-downloaded the CyberArk Privilege Cloud Tools. I'll put a link to this in the description, and we're after the Add-PSMApps here. I'll open this location as administrator, and we'll run this command. Now that that's completed, there's a couple of handy pieces of information down the bottom here. Here's the client installation path. I'll just copy that. And we may need to disable the lock application window to support this version of SSMS 19. Offline, I'll go ahead and install the SSMS 19 and run this script on connector server 2. And then I'll configure the next steps back on the web interface. Now we're back on the workstation. Let's go to Configuration Options. We'll expand our connection components, and you'll find there's a PSM SQL Server Management Studio -win. I'll right click on this and go copy, and then I'll paste it here. That will put it at the very bottom. And first I'll modify the ID and update the display name. I'll also configure this to be full screen while we're here. And I'll press apply, and we'll expand out the node down here. We'll go to target settings, then client specific, and then client installation path. This path is for a different version, so I'll just clear this out and paste in this path that we copied from the PowerShell script. We'll go to lock application window, and I'll turn this off as per the instructions. I'll apply that, and I'll scroll all the way to the top and go to PSM RDP. We'll expand out user parameters, and I want to copy the HTML5 gateway settings. That's in the user parameters. And if we go down to user parameters in the one that we just added, and if we paste this here, we have the allow select HTML5 gateway here. I've got this set to yes and in the value, which means it's always going to use the HTML5 gateway. I'll click apply and OK. I'll now go down to platform management, expand out Windows, and I'm going to duplicate this Git T Windows account that we did recently. And we'll give it a name. And I'll update the description. I'll create that. Back under Windows here, I'll click on the three dots at the end and go Manage PSM Connectors. And I'll disassociate the Git domain, which is a previous platform. And we'll look for SQL, and we specifically want the one that ends with version 19. So I'll associate that and I'll click Save. If I go and edit this account now, we'll expand out UI workflows and connection components. I'll just remove the Git that was there earlier. I could have done this instead of disassociating it, but I'll do that to clean that up. And if I expand out automatic password management, I've got the immediate interval set to 1. By default, this is 5. This is so that we can speed up the password rotations. And if we go to password reconciliation, we can see that because I duplicated a platform, the reconcile account is assigned. I'll apply that and click OK. Now that we've got the connection component configured and the platform, let's go and create a safe. Under Policies, then Safes. We'll create a safe. We'll give it a name. I'll press Skip and Create Safe. That'll give me full access to this safe. If I click back into that safe and we'll go to Members. So by clicking Skip and Create Safe, that'll give my account full access to this safe. Every environment's different, so you'll need to set your permissions accordingly. But what I've done in this environment, I've actually created a role that I would like to add. So I'll add that now. And here's the role here. So PAM Safe Master. I actually don't have any users that have permission to this role. But if I had a scenario where I misconfigured my safe and I needed access to it again, my plan is to add a user to this to help fix up permission errors. But for now, I'll press Next and give that full access, just in case that's required for this lab environment. Now that we've got our safe, I'll go to the Accounts view. We'll add an account. Windows. This will be an SQL Windows Domain Account. And this will go in the SQL Accounts safe. We'll put in the domain. And offline, I've created a user in Active Directory that's got access to the relevant groups. I won't provide the password here. I'll put the logon domain. We'll click Add. There's our new account. I'll just add that to favorites. We'll click into this account and we'll reconcile it. I'll just try refreshing. And we can see the CPM has reconciled the password. I'll also click Verify to verify that works as well. And I'll refresh. We can see the account's verified. I'll now click on the Connect button and I'll type in the SQL server name and press Connect. Because I set the HTML5 gateway to default as yes, this will open up in a new tab to use the HTML5 gateway. And there we are, success. We can manage the database as ca.db.admin1, and we can do our tasks as required. In an upcoming video, I'll share how you can connect to databases using the SIA service or Secure Infrastructure Access. This gives users a much improved user experience. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you on the next video.